Awesome. Hello, I'm Tom, CEO of Roman Aerospace. Really excited to be here today to talk to you about the future of our safe, autonomous skies. So right now, there's incredible potential for drones and autonomous drones and drone delivery. The average person in the US gets 21 packages per year. How many packages from Amazon did you guys get delivered to your house last year? I got more than 21. If it is 21, that's 19 million direct-to-consumer deliveries every day and $43 million being spent on shipping every single day. But the solutions that reach this scale and solve this problem do much more important, bigger things. They help seniors that can't leave their homes get medicine, and they help drones inspect electric power lines to help prevent over 1,500 forest fires caused only by PG&E in the last 6 years. So what's stopping this? Right now, every drone flight is just as safe or just as dangerous as that drone's first flight. Why can't drones learn over time and get better and safer as they fly? Right now, drones are flying blind. They don't know what they see, and if they could see their environment around them, they wouldn't understand it. What we're doing is giving drones memory and vision so that they can see and understand the world around them, track what they see versus the spatial data map that they have on them, and have a backup positioning system to enable the FAA to let them fly beyond line of sight. So furthermore, drones can't fly beyond line of sight because they don't have the needed safety systems and they're flying blind. And if they could get to their destination, they can't deliver. You've seen some videos of drones deploying tethered cargo solutions to a large field, maybe to an intersection. Right now, drones can't deliver to a tight driveway or someone's backyard the actual use case for drone cargo delivery. So the problem is the FAA won't let drones fly beyond line of sight because they're missing certain safety redundancies. And so the solution that's being deployed right now, companies are literally building a watchtower in a parking lot, putting a person in that watchtower so that they can have eyes on the drone while it's flying. This is not scalable. So they can't get there, and once they get there, they can't deliver. But our solution is a software download to the most common commercial and military drone software stack with a cloud connection to a 3D spatial data backend. What we do through the software download is give the drone the ability to understand its environment. We give the drone a backup positioning system, so if GPS is lost, it can compare what its camera sees to its stored 3D spatial environmental map to provide the final needed safety redundancy to let FAA trust drones to fly autonomously beyond line of visual sight. To solve these problems, we have two products: a stabilized hanging payload system. It will make the drone autonomously move around in place and stabilize the hanging payload so that you can deliver it to an actual driveway between trees and to someone's backyard, not just intersections and big fields. And then we have this UAV shared memory and awareness system. As drones fly, they record what their cameras see. They send this back to our cloud environment, and then we also bring in data from Google Earth and other sources, so that when a drone is flying, it takes what its cameras see and compares them to this stored 3D spatial environment. What this does is, if a drone loses GPS by flying through an urban canyon, by flying near to a power line that literally interferes with GPS, the drone's cameras can see the world around it, and it tells the drone where it is by looking that up in its stored 3D spatial map environment. This is the final needed safety redundancy to help the FAA allow drones to fly beyond line of visual sight. So our go-to-market plan is, our beachhead is to deploy this software for stabilized hanging tethered delivery. And we've got great traction of this, as you can see on this slide. We have customers saying, Tom, if you can let us lower our payload from 30 feet into this drone mailbox, we'll give you $150 per drone per month for this. So we're trying to get this out to them ASAP. Meanwhile, we're developing the cloud system and the drone vision systems to let the drone understand its surroundings and fly safely and autonomously beyond line of visual sight. We have great partners to deploy this at-scale solution. We have an aerial highway pilot set up in Florida, and we're actually presenting with SOCOM later this week about deploying this autonomy system for GPS-denied areas in the DoD space. So we have a great pilot program set up for the future scalable system while we go to market via the beachhead of solving an immediate pain point right now. Really excited about the traction. I won't spend a whole lot of time on the market size because we're all here because we know that this is big, but the short answer is I got more than 21 packages last year. I think everyone here did. When we can drop the cost of delivery from $2 per package to 50 cents per package, we're saving over $15 million per day. And even knocking out weekends and Christmas and Hanukkah and Thanksgiving, just 350 days per year, this is saving $5 billion per year by 2025. So our competition is actually great partners. A few companies working in the aerial highway space would actually be great distribution partners, and we have an aerial highway program set up with one company, Skyway, and then AirMap, which was purchased by DroneUp, Walmart's drone company. We've been speaking with Walmart's drone company, and they see how our technology can help them work with these existing aerial highway and airspace regulation companies to make more drones be safer, to onboard them to their aerial highway mapping systems. So they are really great distribution partners. On the AI side, various companies do some interesting things with drone and robotic AI and machine vision, but those are siloed in their own drones and not scalable. I said before, we're a software download to the most common commercial and military drone operating stack, so our system is designed to scale out. We have a great team. I was at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory for 4 years. The rest of our team have some great experience in academia, in the DoD, with great machine vision and controls and autonomy experience. And most importantly, I'm excited to say we are rolling out our stabilized hanging payload solution now. We're going to show that great traction, and once we have that, we're going to launch into a seed round in 2023 because we'll be in a better position to raise that then, and we'll have better leverage when talking to all of our wonderful judges that would potentially like to invest. And I would love to talk more and answer questions. Please send an email to tom@roman.aero. About to fly to Tampa right now to present to SOCOM tomorrow morning, but I'll be here Thursday for more in-person conversations. So tom@roman.aero, and I know we've got a few minutes for questions. Thanks.
Each startup will have 6 minutes to pitch. Thank you so much. And it's going to be followed by a 4-minute Q&A with our panel of experts. So, who wants to go first?
Tom, great pitch. This is John from MIT. My question is, do people want swarms of drones delivering packages in their neighborhoods?
So this is really interesting. One of the leaders in drone cargo delivery is Walmart, and they started doing this during COVID so people wouldn't have to leave their house. They thought that people would want to get medical supplies and COVID tests. They found that people wanted medical supplies and COVID tests. They also found that one of the most ordered items was hamburger helper. People want comfort foods, and the way we've been so acclimated to fast delivery, people tend to want more and more things faster and faster. But my point is, people would make drone deliveries through Walmart's DroneUp. Then they would drive to the store and say, hey, we just got this by drone. This was so cool. So they literally drove back to the store just to tell them how cool it was. So that's an interesting data point. But overall, I think the data point is, once Amazon started doing one-day delivery, if you can't find a package that ships in one day, you'll look for a different product. When that starts happening with 1-hour delivery, I think people are really, really going to like it. We see drones as scaling out over roads, not over people's houses. That helps protect the drones with different airspace regulations. So if you shoot them down, there's more repercussions if you do this over a normal road. And we see people being happy to not have the drones flying over their houses. So I don't know if people want swarms of drones overhead all the time, but I think they want the packages fast, and I think that this is going to come to fruition.
Yeah. Oh, check. Great presentation. I also dabble in the D2C space, so I understand how important it is to get your packages as soon as possible. So you know, there's a world where Walmart becomes hubs, and you're now shipping all this stuff via drone. It's more of a clarification question, but can you walk through the commercial model again?
Yes. So our beachhead product is the stabilized tethered payload system. So there are various companies that make winches, and there are various companies that provide a drone and a winch and a service of drone delivery, and there are various companies that sell drones to service providers. So the product that is a stabilized hanging payload system, we're talking to various winch companies right now to put this onto their winches, so that onto their winch we install a companion computer and a camera, which enables the stabilized payload solution. So then every time they sell a winch, we are involved in what they're selling, and that makes the winch that they're selling work better.
And they're paying you $150 per drone.
Yes. This is not, they're not giving this to us right now. They're like, when you can get us this technology, we will give you $150 per drone per month for the stabilized tethered payload system to hit our precise drop point. So we can't deliver from 80 feet to a 1 meter square right now. We're starting out by focusing on delivering 30 feet to a 1 meter square. So we're trying to finish the technology and get it out to them. In some cases, the product is deployed as a one-time per drone license. That'll let you have a precision drop point. When you want to have the drone's cameras actively track the drone mailbox and handle weird trees and dogs running around, that's a more complex AI system, and then that's where the subscription comes into play. Of course, the backup positioning using the vision systems and the shared drone memory situation, that is a subscription model.
Okay, so
Cool. Again, shoot an email, tom@roman.aero, and would love to chat more on Thursday. Thank you all so much.
All right, thank you so much, Thomas. Okay, next startup, Flexigo. Flexigo is focusing on commute solutions and democratizing access to work. Our presenter is Dave Gallon.
See if I can juggle a few things here. Thanks for having me. I'm going to use my presenter notes a little bit. I'm a longtime lecturer, always got to have the lecture notes. So, the mobility industry has made huge strides forward around safety, environmental impact, convenience, and asset utilization. But the world is ready for the next leap forward, a leap that applies innovation to creating opportunity and overcoming our bad habits. Quite frankly, too many of us spend too much time driving by ourselves. Today, the default commute for over 85% of people in Los Angeles and across the US is to hop in a car, overwhelmingly by yourself, and drive to work. Of course we do. It's easy. We're used to it. What's that old saying? That's the way we've always done it. Those are the 7 most expensive words in the history of business, and it's time to rewrite the narrative. These habits of ours have serious costs. Nearly 1/5 of our take-home pay is dedicated to our commute, and it causes huge amounts of stress, which is exacerbated by the fact that most of us can't afford to live close to where we work. 98% of employee emissions are generated on the commute, and it causes congestion. It's deadly. 47% of car accidents happen during the commute, and twice as many fatalities happen on the way home from work as on the way in. To achieve a future that addresses these concerns, our collective challenge continues to be how do we encourage more people out of their private moving boxes, including ride-sharing and car-sharing options, which only improve asset utilization, and into more efficient, higher occupancy mobility solutions for daily commutes. Flexigo enables this shift, aiding organizations and helping people through critical transitions, from single occupancy vehicles to high occupancy mobility solutions, serving transit deserts and those who have rejected public transit, and from fossil fuel power to electric, and eventually autonomous, to fill current mobility gaps while helping to lower costs and reduce mobility-related emissions. In order to make the largest and most immediate impact on this problem, we focus on the commute, the situations and times of day when moving in a private car has the biggest cost to all stakeholders, in dollars, time, stress, emissions, and in lives lost. And we aim to solve the problem as completely as possible. The first step is to assess the current and ideal states. FlexiCommute, our analytics engine, compares existing commutes with the best alternative for each employee, allowing individuals to weigh the cost, time, and the environmental impact of one commute choice against the other. It also allows employers to see the overall impact of the shift in commute type across their entire organization. Our suite of commute solutions includes 3 distinct modules that can be used independently or in combination with one another. Flexi Shuttle offers both fixed route and dynamically routed shuttles that can pick up from fixed spots, virtual stops, or right from the employee's door. The routes can shift with demand to ensure maximum efficiency for all employees and optimum utilization for all shuttles. Flexi Vanpool and Flexi Carpool are similarly customized to schedules, locations, and preferences of employees, so they are ideal solutions for employers with a single shift, multiple shift, or hybrid work schedules. To complement our commute solutions, we also have our intraday mobility solutions, such as FlexiCar and FlexiRide, a closed-loop car share and ride-share service, respectively, which allows employers to eliminate their employees' fear of being stranded, a fear that keeps so many of us from changing our commute habits. And our Flexi AI tool gives full access to all data, including dashboards and automated reporting tools that allow employers to understand the impact of the commute solutions they offer so that they can optimize the utilization of their assets and gain insights to allow them to continuously improve how they serve their employees. Since all of these solutions are offered within one mobile app environment with a single administrator portal, it's one of the easiest solutions on the market for both riders and organizations, and it doesn't require the sacrifice of any capabilities. All of this leads to higher adoption rates amongst employees. Beyond easing the pain of commute for individuals, FlexiGo solutions drive greater retention, help to fill positions more quickly, and reduce costs related to turnover by providing easy and affordable access to work. Did you know that nearly 20% of those who leave jobs voluntarily do so because of commute challenges? The kicker is, we already know it works. We've been operating the system in Europe for over 5 years with great success. Not only is the technology we're using fully de-risked, but we've also learned and applied lessons critical to success for every group involved. Across Europe, we've moved over 50,000 employees. We move over 50,000 employees each day on over 4,000 shared vehicles and have logged over 30 million passenger trips so far. This has resulted in a 60% savings in the cost of commuting and has saved approximately 10 kilotons of carbon dioxide emissions. Offsetting that would require planting over 500,000 trees every year. Our services can be structured as a SaaS or a TaaS solution and can be dedicated to a single employer or fractionalized so that multiple employers operating on the same general location can share the service, each paying only for the portion of the service they're using. All of this combines to make FlexiGo's suite of solutions ideal for corporate campuses, colleges and universities, airports, hospitals, and sports and cultural events. Encouraging more people to accept alternatives to SOV commutes is no small task, but FlexiGo makes it easy to improve the financial, social, physical, and environmental health of employees, their companies, and their communities. With the suite of solutions from FlexiGo, we can create a win-win-win scenario, and I think we can all get behind that. Thank you. I'm Dave Gowan. This is FlexiGo, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Somebody's driving outside. Hey, Dave, thanks for the presentation. I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. Sounds like you've been operating for quite some time in Europe. Can you share a little bit about the competitive landscape, how you build competitive advantage, and also how you price your services?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to tap our founder who's sitting in. I've been here 3 months, and I'm excited to get this going in the U.S., but he's going to be able to speak with a little more depth about the background on it.
Thank you. Yeah, I made it on the last minute. So my name is Kerem Tiryakioğlu. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO. You asked about the competitive positioning of our solutions. We basically started digitalizing the service in countries where commuter shuttles already exist for various reasons for the last 20, 30 years. So rather than inventing a new service, we actually digitalized an incumbent industry that was being managed by Excel and Google Maps. And then building upon that experience, now we have about 30 million passenger trips that was executed. So it's not just the tech stack that we have built based on digitalizing an existing industry, but we also learned a lot from shuttle operations and operators. Even though we have a purely asset-light model, we actually have acquired a lot of information from how these shuttles are operated, thus taking that experience both on the tech stack as well as the operational side. Now we want to transition it to US, where we think due to labor shortage, hardship of differentiating job offers, environmental concerns, there are different levers now that are prime for expanding such services from not only for certain employees that are like Facebook's and Google's who already provide it. So we are going to digitalize those services, but also launch it on more incumbent industries like manufacturing, such and such as well.
And just to speak a little more further about that, in terms of competitive advantage and differentiation, one of the things we found is because we offer all of these services within one app, one administrator portal, that's when we've been talking to clients and customers, that's the single biggest thing that moves people right now. They're managing 6 different companies to provide these services. They can do it all in one. And we overcome some of those hurdles to people using public transit to a greater extent. Public transit is great for the people who will use it, and I want to get more people on it, but it's an in-group. People want to ride with people in their in-group, and so we can solve that with a commute solution.
Did you ask about pricing as well?
Oh, okay.
We have 2 models. The first model is software as a service, so we charge per employee per month active user on the platform. That runs in the single digits, because unlike Salesforce, like more specialized services that only cater to a certain department within a company, i.e. sales, manufacturing, so on and so forth, we actually cater to every single employee who does commute back and forth. So depending on which services they use, whether if it's just for shuttle van pool or if they use the car share as well, we have various price points, but it's per employee per month. And then in some instances, we also provided transportation as a service, including the vehicle and the driver. We still try to remain as asset light as possible within that, and partnering with transportation providers locally who do own and operate assets. Only on certain cases, as like a bridge provider, will provide the vehicle and the driver for a certain period of time, up until there's a local provider that will franchise it to.
Do we have one more, Pablo, or no?
That was unfortunately the last question. We're in the 10-minute mark. Thank you so much.
I wanted to know how you were going to earn money, so yeah.
Great. Yeah. We'll have more time for questions on the backstage. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to be talking about tires and pollution. And this company from the UK, Tire Wear, is the second largest source of microplastics in our oceans. It gets into our waterways, the air that we breathe, and there is nothing to stop it. But the Tire Collective is doing something about it. So that's our next startup pitching.
Hello, everyone. I'm Siobhan. I'm the co-founder of the Tire Collective, where we are building solutions to stop tire pollution. So we all know tires wear down, but have you ever stopped to consider where that all goes? If I can get my slides to work. Okay. Sorry about that. So businesses are increasingly adopting electric vehicles to reach zero emissions. We all know this. But the reality is they will never reach it without capturing tire wear. It's estimated that 216,000 tons are produced annually in California. That's 216,000 tons. It is the second largest microplastic pollutant, toxic to marine life, and a major contributor to air quality. In fact, This problem will actually get worse as we adopt electric vehicles. This is due to the higher wear rates from the added battery weight and torque. To give you a bit of context, the box on the left is about the size of a grapefruit. That's how much the longest bus route in London produces in just one day. And awareness of tire wear is growing. Over the past 5 years, we've seen bans put in place on microplastics and copper and brake pads. Tire wear is next. It has recently been linked to the mass die-off of salmon off the US West Coast, and this has set off a chain of reactions. We are also seeing a shift towards non-exhaust emission policies in the US and the EU, with multiple action taken by California EPA organizations and in the Euro 7 guidelines. At the Tire Collective, we are spearheading the capture and monitoring of tire wear. We are doing this by developing the catalytic converter for tire wear and closing the loop on captured waste. We are building a retrofittable device that can capture tire wear at source, right at the wheel, before it can enter our environment. We are also exploring recycling pathways to turn this waste into products. And we're working with leading research organizations to fill knowledge gaps. Today, there's over 1.4 billion vehicles on the road globally. Our vision is to have our technology on every vehicle. To achieve this, we are starting with logistic fleet vehicles, with the aim to scale across commercial vehicles in the US and the EU. Logistic fleets have regular maintenance schedules, fixed routes, which allows us to easily incorporate our maintenance systems into them. In fact, some of the companies we're already talking with have noticed up to 2.5 times more tire wear on their electric fleets. Long term, we will work with vehicle manufacturers to integrate our technology directly into new EVs. And our approach differentiates us from our competitors. While the design of tires, vehicles, road surfaces, and driving behavior are ways to reduce tire wear, none of them actually remove it from the environment. We are the first to capture at source. Our device is low cost, it has minimal impact on vehicle behavior, and is scalable across segments. And we've received tremendous inbound interest from industry. We are currently working with leading tire and vehicle manufacturers, fleet operators, and government organizations to develop and pilot our technology. And this has enabled us to move incredibly fast and reach significant milestones. From our first eureka moment, where we discovered that the particles could be charged with friction, we actually used a balloon to discover this. We then built our first proof of concept, scaled up our R&D, and ran our first on-vehicle tests with Seft and Volvo last year. Currently, we are running a 3-month trial in London right now with a local logistic company. But this is only the beginning. We will scale our pilots, rapidly convert customers, and continue building our technology. We are right now building our next prototype for a 6-month-long trial starting next April. And this will bring us one step closer to a soft product launch in 2024. And this has all been made possible by our impact-driven team from Dyson, Bosch, McLaren, and Imperial College, as well as other supporting organizations. To fill the gaps, we do have advisors from leading automotive R&D labs, environmental research, product design, and business. And our efforts have paid off. We've won several leading awards that just help us raise our company mission, awareness of tire wear across international media platforms. But this is what it's all about. This is tire wear. This is 30 times smaller than the width of a human hair. This is what's coming off tires every day, everywhere. It is going into our waterways, the air we breathe, and we are the ones to stop it. Tire wear will become the leading source of vehicle pollution. Let's accelerate the future of clean mobility, and together, save our air from tire wear. Thank you.
Hi, Hi, Siobhan. Thank you very much. Kunal with UK government. Just a question on business model and demand driver to actually install this this kit. How dependent are you on progression of the regulatory agenda and requirements for this to actually get an uptick in demand and installation? And what are you currently seeing in terms of demand from people you're prototyping with? What is their incentive to do this?
Yeah, well, regulation, of course, will help. But what we're actually seeing is that a lot of the companies that we're working with are already aware of this problem. Throughout industry, it's something that has been known, but there hasn't been much solutions put forward yet. And when we're talking with different manufacturers, we're finding that they're operating on much longer timelines, about 5 years plus. And there definitely is a knowledge that legislation will eventually acknowledge this, with the amount that is going into the environment and the studies that are coming out linking this to air pollution as well as to killing different marine life. We know this is going to be something that comes up. And so there still is a very big draw to try and have that competitive edge to stay ahead of other manufacturers.
Hi. Great pitch, by the way.
Thank you.
What's the percentage of wear captured by the device? I mean, how much of the wear is being really captured? Have you estimated that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our patent pen technology uses electrostatics and airflow to track the tire particles. Right now, we're currently capturing approximately 60% of all airborne particulates by mass. It is important to note that tire wear does have a very large science range, and most of the particles are actually in the airborne quantities, so they're PM10 and below. This is important to note because they don't have very large of a mass because they're so small. So it's another area of research that we're looking at to try and quantify by number how much we're collecting. But at the moment, by mass is what we're using, and that is still a very significant percentage.
Thank you. Sorry, also, have you thought about something for the rest of the wheel? I mean, you're capturing the wear, but there's a huge problem also with the rest of the wheel. It doesn't involve microparticles, but it involves kilograms and kilograms of stuff.
Are you talking about recycling whole tires?
I mean, have you gone that path?
We're still currently focused on tire wear and looking at how we recycle the material we capture. So that's an important work plan that we're looking on, first characterizing that and then incorporating it actually into the micronized rubber industry. So there's already set infrastructure in place to recycle small bits of tire wear, so we're working to incorporate into that and then bring that back into other products and closing the loop on it.
Thank you.
Hi.
I had a similar question related to circularity, but I wanted to know, have you found in your research and when you're looking to collect particles from tires that there are certain tires that produce less particles than others? And what are you doing with that and essentially some of the policy space to also inform decision makers and also manufacturers of those types of issues or challenges?
Yeah, so there's a huge variation in wear rates on tires. It does depend on brand, but a lot of it also depends on how well the tire itself is maintained. So we're still, it's difficult to exactly answer that because the research is still coming out on quantifying what those different rates are, but there is a big range between that. We would like to be working more closely with some tire manufacturers. We've had some initial collaborations starting right now, and we're hoping to explore that further and see how that can incorporate in. Are there any other questions?
So I have one question, and it's probably really silly, but how much does it cost? Like, if you were to sell this, what's an organization or institution paying for one of these?
Yeah, so our business model operates on B2B sales of the device itself as well as annual maintenance contracts. Then we do collect data on the wear rates itself as well as the sales of the material. I can answer on the B2B prices. We haven't yet scoped out the maintenance contracts. We're aiming to be approximately $600 to $800 per vehicle. We're trying to keep it on par with what diesel particulate filters are usually sold at. Because once again, we're trying to, long-term wise, incorporate it into the vehicle itself. So it'd have to be something that a consumer wouldn't need to fully think about. Our mission is to try and stop this pollution from happening. And so we want to try and make that as easily approachable as possible.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job. last pitch of this first part, we have another company from the US. It's electric. They're on a mission to bring curbside EV charging to cities across the US and advance the adoption of electric vehicles. I'm not going to tell you more about it because I want here Tia to tell us about it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. I am Tia Gordon, and I am the co-founder of It's Electric. We are curbside electric vehicle charging specifically built for cities. In fact, we use buildings to power electric urban transportation. There are more than 40 million drivers without driveways, without garages, and without that convenient home charging convenience. Owning an EV is expensive, it's inconvenient to charge, and it really forces it out of the question for most city dwellers. In fact, from this summer's J.D. Power report, it's the shortage of public charging as the #1 reason why vehicle shoppers reject EVs. And hey, we're in the funnel. New York and 11 other states are following California's mandate. So my question is, where are these 15 million EVs that are projected to be on the road by 2030 going to charge? Well, if you live in the suburbs or you're suburb adjacent, that's really easy. You have an electrician come over, they put a 240-volt outlet in your garage next to your driveway, you come home, you plug in, you charge, you're done. If you live in the city, it's a lot harder. The Department of Energy projection for public level 2 charging is estimated over 500,000 charge points needed to service these 15 million EVs. Now, cities want to go electric. They're writing their EV vision charging plans. New York, for example, has the public target of having 10,000 curbside chargers by 2030. They currently have 100. Los Angeles has 4,000 public chargers. 400 of those are curbside, and that's because you guys are awesome. But it's also because your accessory feed is already 240-volt, 40-amp, and that's the right voltage already available on the street for public curbside charging. The rest of the country, my hometown of New York included, is 120-volt. That's a hairdryer. That's your standard NEMA outlet that you have in your house. So this is that infrastructure block, and that's what takes time and it takes capital to upgrade. But the beauty of It's Electric is that that density that contributes to this barrier actually becomes the solution. Most every building can power a level 2 EV charger. And aren't we lucky that our cities are just full of buildings? What we do is we deploy chargers using power that is already there, directly from the adjacent property, regardless of typology. It's a simple conduit that runs under the pavement from the building to the curbside. Now keep in mind, a level 2 charger is the same energy pull as you would have from an electric dryer or an electric oven. We can install a charger in a matter of days anywhere there is a building and a curb. And what this avoids is the current process, which right now takes on average 9 months, and it's for permitting, it's installation, it's street closure, it's trenching 7 feet down, you're installing a transformer, you're installing a submeter. This is a time expense, and this is a capital expense. It works like this. A driver pulls up to the charger, they execute the charge event. It's Electric pays that tariff directly. We have a sub-meter in the building. That building owner does not see their electric bill bubble at any time. And then we share revenue with the money that remains with that building, whether it be a 1 or 2 family house, a school, a religious house, a commercial storefront, you name it. But this solves the most difficult problems right now around curbside EV charging, which is time and cost. But the third, and the elephant in this room, is equity. When EV prices drop and new economy models come online in the next 2 years, with the exception of your eco-warriors or your EV diehards, no one is going to purchase an EV in Ridgewood, in Newark, in South Central, in Crown Heights, in Flushing, unless they can walk out of their door and see where they're going to charge reasonably close to where they live. Our business model is built and engineered in such a way that our economics makes us free to cities and free to building owners. This critically allows us to deploy without discrimination. We can install chargers in neighborhoods with low or no adoption and encourage those drivers to go EV, just as easily as we can install in wealthier neighborhoods where EV adoption rates are skyrocketing. We are an inclusive model. For every single charge point we install, we can allow 4 drivers to convert to electric. We provide convenient and affordable infrastructure across all neighborhoods, including low-income neighborhoods. This is critical because most of those neighborhoods are already in mass transit deserts. They rely on their personal vehicle more than other areas. We also allow residents to earn passive monthly income by hosting this public charger. We put the green into people's pockets of the green economy, something like that. We are a design and community-centered approach. We're built from the founder's background across architecture and construction, design and technology. I'd like to say that destination, meaning parking lot and parking garage charging, is part of the equation for this, but the sustainable ideal, I can't underscore this enough, is a convenient, on-your-block, level 2 overnight charge. Residents do not want high-visibility chargers, batteries, transformers on the blocks where they live, where their children play. They want convenience, they want reliability, and they want that without the big, the bad, and frankly, the ugly that is currently out there. We are the only detachable cord EV charging system in the United States. Our MVP has been live for 5 months. Word is out, and we're announcing our first pilots next month. It's electric. We allow buildings to power urban transportation. Thank you. Questions?
Thanks for the great presentation. My question is there enough energy available from the utilities to support this number of EVs and chargers?
Absolutely. So think about this, like, again, it's a level 2 is electric dry or electric range. We're not talking about DC fast charging. We're New York based, we're Brooklyn based, so we've been diligenced by Con Edison. They actually like us because what we're doing is we're not only encouraging that overnight charge, so we're deploying that unused energy overnight, we're also activating their inventory that they're otherwise not able to use, because you really can't store energy for long durations of time. So unless you're like my mother and you're running your dryer at 1 a.m., you're not really using your power between those hours. So for us, it's a win-win with our utilities.
And how do you fund the installs?
In terms of the installation, so this is part of our we're pre-seed right now. So our installs are going to be funded through the capital that we're working with in terms of green bank loans that we're looking for. And then our revenue is earned from the actual charge events, but as well as from something I didn't get to mention, but once we bring those charge points to the street, we have the opportunity to bring in different data points. So we can put in flood detection, we can put in noise and air quality sensing, data that's valuable for cities that we can then sell back. So our business model is revenue based on the charge and on the data that comes from those ports.
Can your technology be paired with V2G technologies and potentially also some sort of localized storage? I don't know if that would be utilized from that local commercial business or from a residence, but is that an option for the customers or where you're deploying your technology?
Yeah, V2G is sort of our ultimate goal in terms of our roadmap. We see ourselves getting there in about 3 to 5 years, because what we're talking about is a virtuous cycle ultimately. The idea came about partially from conversations I was having with my co-founder, who's an architect and has worked in New York City in sustainable construction for 20 years. And we were seeing lots of solar go up on roofs because of local law 97 there in New York. And we're hoping that, we said, what if those solar panels could power an EV that was parked in front of the building? And so ultimately, we'd like to get to the point where solar is indeed flowing through the building and then flowing out to charge that vehicle. V2G, again, is like that direct conduit, but storage is not something that we're looking at for right now.
Hey, one question around the asset So my assumption is that the building will own the asset.
No, we own and operate.
You own and operate
We
the asset.
install, we maintain, we remove.
Got it. And my assumption is that the state of good repair or capital costs that go into keeping it maintained is covered through the revenue?
Correct.
Okay.
This was a great presentation because I think you clearly articulated a very real problem. My question is about the alignment with parking. So how do you think about that distinction between on-street parking, dedicated on-street parking for the people who live in that building right there, and then the installation of your equipment?
I'm smiling because this is my favorite question. So I live in New York City. I've been born and raised in New York. I've had people get out of their cars with 2x4s when I've tried to take parking spots. So I understand the tension of on-street parking. So when you're thinking about EV charging in the future and you're thinking about where these go, I don't want you to imagine a city block with a domino line of EV charges as far as the eye can see, effectively pissing off a lot of internal combustion engine drivers. Most American standards right now in terms of DOTs and the targets they're putting out there is 1 charge point for every 10 EVs on the road. So that shakes out to about 4 to 5 dedicated EV spots per block. These will be dedicated spots. This is something that we have to start to wrap our heads around in terms of this being an amenity. It's, right now there is a law in the books in New York. You get a loading zone violation if you park in an EV charging spot, even though there's not that many EV charging spots. But the areas that I'm interested in accessing is, in addition to it being on block by block, again, going back to the idea of houses of worship, those spots that are limited and restricted and are only used on weekends during the week could be easily transformed into EV charging spots, bringing revenue to those synagogues, those mosques, those churches. Same thing for schools, reverse analogy. During the week, they're used for school buses. On the weekends, we can bring in charging spots that will then bring funding into those schools.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time's up. Thank you so much
Thanks, everyone.
for your presentation.